Well, good morning. It's good to be able to address you this morning through this devotional. And just a quick note about yesterday. We had a wonderful service of communion in the parking lot at the church. It's the first time in 45 years of ministry that I've ever had a communion burn, have a sunburn from walking around the parking lot. You know, I'm not much of a movie connoisseur. Connoisseur. That's a nice big word for a Bladen County boy, don't you think? It's not to say that I don't enjoy movies. From time to time, I really do. There are several that I've watched multiple times. Sometimes it's because my wife has made certain that we watch it again. Unfortunately, the movies that I tend to watch that I really enjoy watching are those with off the wall humor. You might have guessed that. For instance, the old airplane movies. Does anyone remember the line, "Surely you can't be serious"? Yes, I'm serious, and stop calling me Shirley. Yeah, that's the kind of movie that I enjoy. Although I seldom get a chance to, I also enjoy watching the old westerns. You know, the kind that John Wayne may have started in. It at the end of the movie, after the West has been won and the hero of the story mounts his steed and rides off into the sunset, we gradually see the words "The End" scroll across the screen. But whether we like the ending or not, that is the clue that the movie is drawing to a close. If this letter from Paul to Timothy were a movie, this is the place at which these words would scroll into view. The problem for us, however, is the fact that our hero, Paul, does not ride off into the sunset. No, not at all. We leave Paul sitting in a jail cell in Rome. As a matter of fact, we know quite well at the end of this letter, the movie may be over, but the end is not yet. Eventually, Paul would meet with his own death. We know from our text, Paul urges Timothy to come to him before winter, although we don't ever know for sure if he arrived there by then. Because of this request, most scholars believe that Paul must have written this letter in the late spring or early summer. Scholars also tell us that traveling on the Mediterranean Sea was suspended in the winter months. That means if Timothy's hope to arriving to see Paul before next spring came around, he would have to seize the opportunity to travel immediately. The second thing that we know from this text is Paul apparently anticipated the weather getting colder, so he needed his cloak. However, there is much more here than Paul asking Timothy to bring his belongings to him and to have Timothy move expeditiously in his travel arrangements. Paul is expressing an urgency. Not that he was concerned regarding the outcome of this imprisonment. I rather suspect Paul anticipated the eventual conclusion to this part of his life and ministry. We need not miss the point that Paul is making. There comes a time, there comes a moment in which certain matters must be dealt with now. It is frustrating for us to see this movie end and not know if Timothy and Paul were ever reunited before winter. However, as the credits roll, one thing we do know for certain: they are reunited now. You see, for the Christian, the beauty of the story of our Savior is the end is never the end. Don't get me wrong. I do not mean to suggest that there are times when even the most urgent of matters are never urgent. There are matters to which we must attend in the immediacy. I simply want to emphasize the message at the center of our faith. You see, our walk with our Savior isn't just until the end, but it is for all eternity. Consider these questions. What are the urgent matters to which you must attend in your relationship with Jesus? Question number 2. How does walking with Jesus for all eternity impact your life and your witness? Question number 3. Before you ride off into the sunset, what do you need to complete in your life? Well, I trust that you have a great day. This is our last week with our devotionals, and I hope that you have found them meaningful and helpful. I encourage you to continue to journal the questions and have a great day in this new normal, being the church in changing times. Go in peace.